This was just a really quick snippet that I just thought of right now. Basically, it was about relationships and how some people choose to be single way into their later years, and other people are in relationships and they think they're better than the people who choose to be single. But what you need to understand is that the person who's chosen to be single, they know who they are, they know what they want, they know what they deserve, and they're not willing to settle for the abuse that comes with some relationships. So, these people that have chosen, there's a difference between being single because you can't find somebody and being single because everyone that likes you, you have no interest in. Meaning that you can attract a partner and you could get married and you could be with someone, but you're choosing not to because you're not content, or rather, you don't see your future with this person, if that makes any sense. These specific people are more highly and emotionally evolved than the generic public. They are very aware of their energy. They're very aware of what they want in life and who they want to be. They understand that being in the wrong relationship will, sorry, I literally, as you know, just woke up. They understand that being in the wrong relationship will ruin them and their future. And sometimes you could say, you don't know, like, you don't know, Myra, you don't know what the future brings. You don't know. Yeah, but energetically, some people they're aware. They're aware of themselves. They're aware of cause and effect. And they realize that, yes, you could have some great moments. You could have amazing memories with this person. But in the long run, because of the decisions they make, because of the way they treat you and others, it's not an opportune situation. And why put yourself in that situation to waste years and time with that person that you could be spending with someone that you actually genuinely love and enjoy being with? And yes, you can fall in love with someone that you least expected to fall in love with. And you never know what the world or the universe has in store for you. But you also have to trust your instincts and your gut. And if your gut is telling you not this person, then regardless of what everyone else is telling you, it's not this person. Because you're going to force yourself to be in a situation or relationship with somebody that you knew deep down inside was not for you. And then you're going to regret it. And you might have missed out meeting the right person because you were trying to make it work with the wrong person. Or I could be wrong and that wrong person is actually the right person. You never know. But the whole point of this video is don't talk down to the person who's chosen to be single. It's a choice. They're not sitting there and they're like, look, I would rather be alone than in bad company. I would rather be alone than deal with crap from somebody that I'm not completely in love with, that I don't really care about the way that you need to care about someone to put up with their stuff. And there's a lot of people that are in abusive, manipulative relationships, and they feel like they're better than someone who's single, who's actually at peace and happy and succeeding in life, but they may not have a partner. So who's the winner here? And yes, there's some people that are in horrible relationships, but they have amazing children. And the purpose of that relationship was to create those children. But it doesn't mean you need to stay in that relationship. If it's a bad relationship, then it's a bad relationship. And the reason that I wanted to make this video, aside from the fact that I've been coaching a lot of people in this situation, is, and then we'll talk about something else later, is that song. Like, there's some people that like to be manipulated and controlled, and they, like the sadomasochists or the BDSM people, emotionally, they like that. And it kind of reminded me of that song by Rihanna, I Love the Way You Lie. Those lyrics. And there are some guys that get really hot off of that because they know they're liars and manipulators, and they can't wait to meet the person that loves the way they lie and loves them no matter what. And I've met a couple of men like that. But I'm not that girl. And there's thousands, millions of women that are not that girl. They just want an honest relationship. They don't want manipulation. They just want collaboration. They want to be in an honest relationship with a human being, to be themselves, not be judged, even if you're judged a little bit because we're different, and of course, have that person stay, you know, and work through it. Which brought me to the thing that I wanted to talk to you guys about. In the 50s and the 60s, people were married and they stayed married for 50 years. And you saw them fight and bicker. And you could tell, people will tell you, they'll be like, my parents weren't in love. They just stayed together because it's what you did. Like you can totally tell they weren't in love. They hated each other. They fought all the time. But they've been together for 50, 60 years. And for some reason, we admire that because we admire the commitment, the longevity, the respect. Well, somewhat respect, because sometimes there wasn't respect. Sometimes there was abuse. But it's just what you did. You just stayed in the marriage. You didn't get divorced. But it's also, back then, women couldn't survive without men. They weren't given jobs that allowed them to take care of themselves. You were reliant on someone. So you had to put up with that abuse. Nowadays, women can take care of themselves. Some women make a lot more than men. They have a lot more than they had before, many privileges, abilities, and that's why they keep trying to take that away. Get you pregnant and stay pregnant. Remove the abortion laws. So now you have to have a child, which makes you kind of want to be in a relationship with someone that you would rather, or you might not have wanted to be in a relationship, because now you're in survival mode. So just be aware, if you're one of these single people, don't feel bad. Not that you do, because most of the people who are single because they choose to be single are very strong-minded. Not to say people that are in relationships aren't. The people that are in relationships are very strong, because it takes a lot of strength to stay in a relationship and try to make it work and be compromising and love somebody to the point where you're willing to take whatever they give you, or whatever you give them, and then later on look back and say, I love you and I don't want to lose this, So there's a lot of pros and cons to both situations, but, big but, the people who've chosen to be single, the people who've chosen peace over the stress and the anxiety of being with the wrong person, they shouldn't get verbally abused or judged by people who've chosen to be in relationships. There's nothing wrong with these people who've chosen to be single. They just are energetically sensitive, and being with the wrong person would literally ruin who they are because of their energetic sensitivity. It's not something that a lot of people can understand, but some people are just very sensitive to energy or feelings or emotions. They might be empathic, and being with the wrong person would make you suffer on a full-time basis, which could lead to like depression and psychosis and all of these different things. So it's best to be alone than to be with the wrong person. And like every day you look across the room and hate that person. And you're just with them because it's just the thing you do. It's just what people did. It's just what you do. You don't have to do that anymore. You find your crew, you find your squad, you become the golden girls. No, I'm kidding. But you find your path and your way. You can adopt children. You could find somebody later in life. I've met people that they found their partner when they were 47, when they were in their 50s. And yeah, they had like 20 or 30 years left. It wasn't the golden 50 that everybody strives for, but they were the happiest years because they knew who they were. The partner knew they knew who they were. They came together, they worked together, and then you're happy. The worst thing in the world is to be with someone who doesn't get you, and you're just with them for survival or for to fill the void, to not be alone, to not feel lonely or abandoned, or whatever the issue is that some people are going through. So I just wanted to make this video to get people to understand that just because someone chooses to be single doesn't mean there's anything wrong with them. It just means that they're more evolved and they just don't want to be with someone that's not going to fulfill their lives. And there's nothing wrong with that. Some people are just horrible and nobody wants to be with them, and they don't want to be with anybody. Like they just argue and bicker. They're just not the right person. But other people are just very sensitive. And especially in this world, I find a lot of hypersensitive souls who need to find someone who understands them, who's kind, who communicates, and they don't walk away. They actually just want to sit down and talk until they find a solution. A lot of people don't want to talk. They just want like the conversation to end because it's not going the way they want it to go. And they want to go home, or you're in a car with them. This drives me crazy. Let me out of the car right now in the middle of the highway. Who does that? Like any rational human being would wait until you're off the highway on a main road and then be like, you know what, can you just pull over and then get off and call an Uber? You don't say, let me out of the car in the highway. Like those are really crazy, manipulative people that like can't have a conversation, that can't discuss things until you find a resolution. It's so important. And I'm saying this because these are examples that I've heard. These are couples telling me, like every time we get in a fight, he's like, let me out, I'm leaving. They walk out in the middle of a snowstorm. I'm like, and I'm listening, I have to be, unbiased. Okay, why did you do that? And, and I talk to people and I understand the partner's point of view. But that partner is also being manipulative because they want the person to chase them. And you cannot be in a relationship with a power struggle where you're doing things because you want the person to come after you and forgive you because you don't want to deal with the situation at hand. So you disappear for, I don't know, I met this guy who disappeared for 3.5 years. First time he disappeared for 1.5 years and then came back after the girl bought him a plane ticket. Then he disappeared after 3 years and then told the girl to buy him a plane ticket to come back. But the last time she bought him a plane ticket, he like ignored her and said he needed space after 1.5 years of not seeing this girl. He was very manipulative and very emotionally abusive. And this girl just loved him. She just wanted to be his friend. It like breaks my heart when I talk to some of these people and I see the relationships they're in. And I remember when I was being trained by my coach, she would tell people, she's like, you just need to get a divorce. Like, this is not going to work. Like, there's no point in going to therapy. Unless one of you is willing to make changes, like, it's over. And I would look at her like, they're paying you to help them, And she's like, no, why? Why put yourself through it? And I would look at her and not understand. But now that I'm coaching people, I get it. And it's true. You can't manipulate people. Well, you can. And there are people that do all day, every day. To the point where you are emotionally playing, oh my God, what is that game? Tug of war, emotional tug of war, where one person's pulling and the other one gets pulled in, and then the other person pulls back and they get pulled in. And some people get off on that. But people who are emotionally mature and evolved, they don't. And they don't have time for it. They just want to discuss things. They want peace. They want happiness. All they want to do is laugh and have a good time or succeed or get things done. Like, they don't have time for the drama that other people are working through because it's part of their journey. And they understand that. They're like, I love this person, but it's not part of my journey. And therefore, I'm not willing to walk this path with them because I've already been through that. I've already emotionally passed that. And I'm not looking to go backwards and go through that again. And I just wanted to make this video. It's like evolving, as all my videos do. Just to let people know, like, the key to solving any problem is to sit down and discuss it until you come up with a solution. That may mean you're sitting down for 10 minutes, 30 minutes, 3 hours, 8 hours. But it's about letting everything out and understanding that sometimes that person that you're angry with, they're not the root cause. You're mad at them because of something somebody did to you when you were 12 years old. And then what they did reminded you of that, which brought back all of that emotional trauma and caused you to freak out because you weren't able to remedy that situation when you were 11 or 12 years old or 20 or 30. It doesn't matter how old you were. And so now you're taking it out on that person now. And that's causing a problem in your relationship. And this person is just being innocent. They're not realizing what they're doing. They're just in a relationship with you. And Instead of you saying, you know what, when I was 12 years old, somebody did this to me and it really bothered me. And maybe you didn't even realize that's what it was, but it's just sitting down and talking until you get to that point of like, why is this happening? I don't know. When I was a kid, this happened and it bothered me. And then you did it and it bothered me. Now you understand that's a trigger for that person. If that person continues to trigger you, walk away. They don't care about you. They're really trying to just hurt you at this point. But if they are aware that this is a trigger for you and they make a conscious change to not trigger you, that's fine. But then there's some people that have like 1,000 emotional issues and 1,000 emotional triggers. And you get to the point where it's like, I cannot go through all of this with you. Like, I've got my life to live and I've got things that I want to accomplish and do. And like, I want to help you because I love you, but you just got a lot of stuff going on. Like, maybe you want to go to therapy and help yourself, and then we'll work through it in the relationship. So, but I personally cannot be your coach and therapist also, because I need to live the life that I was born to live, And that's another reason people are single, because they're like, I can't be everything. I could be a lot, but not everything. So there's deeper layers and blah, blah, blah. But I just wanted to at least get that much out. There's a lot of people that are going to leave negative remarks like, you know what you're talking about because you're not in a relationship and blah, 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 blah. I don't need to be in a relationship to see what is going on. Like you don't need to be in an abusive relationship to know that it's wrong. You could see it by looking at it from the outside in. And you don't have to live it to understand it. I have seen many relationships that are like 20 to 35 years long. I've witnessed it. I've seen them. I've seen them struggle. I've seen people get divorced and then get remarried. I know love. I understand its complexities. I've seen the arguments. I've witnessed it. I have thousands, I would say, of testimonies from clients and people that I've helped that before I became a therapist, or not a therapist, a coach, because I'm not a therapist. Please let me, and I'm very aware of the dynamic. But again, it's a choice. And the way our relationship will work is if both people are committed. I met somebody that told me, as I was taking, different courses, they said, as long as one person is committed, the relationship will last because they will always fight for the relationship. But as soon as that one person quits, the relationship's over. Now, if you have two people that are committed, like a lot of very like Muslims and Jewish people, they're very committed. They're taught very differently than, Catholic, technically Catholic and Roman Catholic and stuff like that. They're also very committed to marriage and relationships. But I find that the happiest relationships I've ever seen, the longest lasting relationships I've ever seen have been Jewish and Muslim. And it's because that's how they're brought up, and they're taught early on to communicate and respect and work together as a couple. They're taught how to speak kindly and use words of love throughout arguments, and it's just part of their culture as well. And I think they're fascinating, beautiful cultures. I'm studying so many different cultures now. When I do this documentary, it's going to be amazing. We were just talking about, I don't even want to ruin the surprise, but the Indigenous documentary I'm doing, it's going to just shed light on a lot of different things. But culturally, when it comes to marriage, they tend to have long-lasting, happy marriages. Jewish have happier marriages than Muslims have very happy marriages. Some of them are very loud and combative. Some. But the love is there. The commitment is there. Indian people, with even the arranged marriages, that commitment and that love and the desire to make it work are there. And then in all of those cultures, including Roman Catholic and atheists, then there's, regardless of what you do, no matter what you do, they're going to break up and they're going to get divorced, and it's just not going to work. It's just, they're incompatible, and regardless of faith and commitment, that incompatibility will win, and that relationship will end. So there's so many factors. I'm not making this video for you to judge and be like, you don't know what you're talking about. As you can see, I'm talking about layers of depth and different situations. One situation might look like the other situation, but then there's key factors that change it, and therefore they change the probability or the ability for that relationship to work. I can't put it all in one video. You're not going to sit here and in 1 hour or 20 minutes or 10 minutes get the full scope of relationship coaching and all the possibilities that are out there. Like, that's impossible. I'm just giving you a little of 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 a little, if that makes any sense. Just like a broad framework, if that makes any sense. But it doesn't matter, because the moment you trigger these people who are already highly angered and highly sensitive and manipulative and argumentative and dramatic, they're not even hearing anything else that I said after what I said that pissed them off, which is another personality type. Like, there's some people that, like, you say something and, like, you could say everything else you need to say for it to make sense, but they're not hearing it because they were already triggered. I don't even want to talk about those people, because that's my trigger. Like, when I meet people that can't communicate and don't listen, and I'm done. That's when I'm like, you need to go find a therapist, because you're not going to grow and listen, and there's no point in anybody trying to communicate with this person. I'm not going to tell them that. But I'm just going to recommend them to somebody else that, after identifying their personality type and how they communicate, there are other coaches and like therapists, like real therapists that you can actually go through insurance for, that I would recommend, because I understand that they will be able to communicate with you in a way that I can't, because I'm not meant to communicate with everyone. They refer people to me because they're not meant to communicate with everyone. And sorry, you find the people that you think will be able to resonate and help your client. It is very selfish for a therapist or a coach to try to help people that they can't get through to. So you create a network of people with completely different personality types. And then when you find somebody that has that personality type, you can recommend them to this other person who may be able to actually help them. So I hope this video helps some people. The reason I made it is I woke up and I was just thinking about this conversation, which turned into an argument. I had my annual potluck dinner last night, and it was about relationships and people being single, up until their late 30s, early 40s, people not having kids, how people are waiting later in life. A lot of it has to do with people not knowing who they are. And then when they finally do, like I said before, then they find the other person who knows who they are, then they come together, then it works. A lot of our friends were married really young and are getting divorced now and have to start all over. So there's just a lot of things that happened in conversation. But I woke up and I just was like, I gotta make this video. So I'm stuffed up and congested because my body is stressed out from preparing for the event yesterday, from dealing with everything. I was up until 2 o'clock in the morning. I woke up at 7, 5 hours of sleep. So I have to take a nap later to let my body heal. But that's why I'm congested. And it's also understanding, this is just separate, totally separate subject. Understanding your body and knowing why you're feeling certain things. Like if you feel congested and you're not feeling well and you're getting sick, you're stressed. Your body's tired. It needs to rest, Or you might have contracted, with all those people, somebody was sick and then they made you sick, so that's viral or bacterial. So that, there's different things, but that's another part of the documentary, because the whole point of my documentary is to teach people how to heal based on indigenous, ancestral, ancient ways. I'm so excited. Okay. Love you guys. Bye.